That's
I agree.
awesome.
Um,
So
So-
fast forward a little bit, you know, you obviously did PayPal. That was very successful. And then at some point in time, you're like, I'm going to do something crazy, something that's never been done before with Tesla
Yeah.
and the space-related stuff that you're into.
yeah.
I mean, why take on such huge, very ambitious type projects? I mean, did you ever have a feeling like this might not work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, so this kind of goes back to college where I was trying to figure out what are the things that would most affect the future of humanity, and the things that I thought would most affect the future would be with the internet, sustainable energy, which is both production and consumption, and so effectively solar cities like production, Tesla's consumption in a sustainable way, and then also space exploration and specifically making life multiplanetary. Now, I didn't expect at the time to be involved in all of those areas, but those are just the areas that I thought would most affect the future. And as it turned out, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in those areas. But that's the thread that connects them. It's kind of my best guess at what would most likely affect the future in the biggest way. And when I first thought about doing something in space, the thing I was going to do was actually going to be a kind of a philanthropic mission to Mars, to land a small greenhouse on the surface of Mars with seeds and dehydrated nutrient gel that you'd hydrate upon landing. You'd have this little greenhouse on Mars, and you'd have this great shot of green plants on the red background, and the public tends to respond to precedents and superlatives. So I thought that would get people really excited about sending life to Mars. And my expectation from that project would be 100% loss, because I wouldn't expect, maybe you can make a little bit back on advertising or sponsorship or something, but it would be essentially a complete loss. So starting a rocket company was necessarily have a greater likely outcome than 0% financial return.
Right, right.
But at the beginning of starting SpaceX, I thought that the most likely outcome was failure.
And how about Tesla Motors? Like, walk me through your process of wanting to launch something like that.
Yeah, so in terms of an electric car company, at first I thought that there would be no need to do an electric car company startup because California regulations basically forced General Motors to create the Volt, or rather the EV1, I should say. So when General Motors had the EV1, I thought, hey, this is great. Biggest car company in the world is making an electric car. It's called the EV1. That would imply that there's going to be an EV2, 3, 4.
Right.
And
They killed that project off, though, right?
they did.
Yeah.
And that was very unwise. I mean, it's sort of really short-sighted, I think, action. I mean, in retrospect, that seems perhaps obvious. But at the time, not only did they cancel the project, they forcibly removed the EV1s that they'd given out, which they only gave out on lease. They removed them from customers against their wishes, took the cars and crushed them in a yard so that they could never be used again. And the customers whose cars had been taken away, they tried legal action to try they tried to sue General Motors to keep their car. They actually had a candlelit vigil at the yard where the cars got crushed. And it's like, when's the last time there was a candlelit vigil for a product?
Right.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Right.
And let alone a General Motors product. I mean, you have to be
It
pretty...
shows the passion, the level of passion that users have.
Yeah, you have to be pretty tone deaf to... I mean, you don't need to run you don't need to do a customer survey to figure out that at least some number of people want the cars if they are treating it like somebody's being sentenced to death.
Family. Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah. So what?
So when I saw that, I was like, holy crap! This is not going to happen, and so there really needs to be a new car company that comes in and shows that it can be done. And the key thing that needed to be done was to show that you can make an electric car that was good looking, high performance, long range, and that if you made such a car, that people would buy it, that they didn't have some fundamental affinity for gasoline. So that's...
Where do you get started? You have the capital to obviously put into something, a new venture. But
Well-
you're sitting there and you're like, okay, I want to do this. Like, who
Yeah,
do
but
you
my
surround
initial-
yourself with?
Well, my initial thought was that I did not want to to create an electric car company and run it myself, because I was running SpaceX, and the idea of running two companies, that's a lot of work. It's just like, imagine if somebody had two pretty demanding jobs, and then now, or you had one really demanding job, now you got to do two of them.
Right.
It's, it kind of takes the fun away, and it makes it pretty
Definitely,
arduous.
Yeah, the social life goes away, or something else.
So something's got to give.
Yeah.
So my initial thought was, okay, I'll hire some people and work with a team, and I'll just sort of work on the product design and sort of maybe the overall strategy or something. But I'll leave the day-to-day operations to a CEO that I'd hire. So unfortunately, that didn't work out. I actually tried hiring a couple of CEOs, and I guess, I don't know, I couldn't find the right person. And so it then came to 2008. I was kind of co-CEO from 2007, 2008, while trying to bring up, some other people up to speed. And then when the market fell apart, the financial market fell apart,
Right.
and the economy fell apart in 2008, and I had a choice of basically commit all of my remaining resources to Tesla, or it's going to die for sure. And I thought, okay, if I'm going to do that, then I got to bite the bullet and run the company, because there's just too much at stake. If you've got all your chips on the table, you've got to play the hand yourself.
Yeah.